the NFL, as you mentioned, doesn't pay taxes. It's a tax-exempt status. But the NFL teams, the NFL ventures, they all pay taxes.
Do the Packers have the ball? Apparently they do.
And they're going to give it to the
Packers. Goes to the touchdown. Is that a touchdown or not?
Well, they don't know whether to call it. Nobody wants to call anything.
Well, the officials are going to confer. Let's see what they're...
Day after this video was released, finally saying, after, by the way, Scott, the team told him he was done, saying that he was suspended. Is this an example of the NFL not being in front of this story?
They blew it. It's simple. They blew it, and Roger Goodell knows he blew it.
And Cripps had it bounce off him. That's a live ball. Back by the goal line. He's got to come out with it. He's to the 5. He angles. He's up the sideline. He's still running. He's to the 20, 25, 30. He's to the 40. He's down the sideline and angles left. He's to the 35, 30, 25, 20. He's got blockers in front. 5. Touchdown!
What's changed in the last 5 years?
The injuries have gotten more severe.
Don't dream. Don't you dare dream. That won't get you anywhere.
Right down there. It starts today.
Work hard. Work hard out there. That's how you do it. If you only settle for your best, you'll be amazed what you can accomplish.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Eller Sports Desk. I am Aaron Dryden, reporting tonight with Katie Nickerson, and tonight we'll be bringing a story about the NFL and certain financial situations that it finds itself in with media and television and new technologies that could hinder the traditional television experience of football for the consumer. And also we'll be talking about injuries and how they play a part in current NFL viewership and the long-run implications for NFL as a whole moving forward.
So we're first going to start out by taking a look at the current situation of the NFL with regards to media. They currently air on 5 networks: CBS, 21st Century Fox or Fox Sports, NBC, Walt Disney Corporation or ESPN, and the NFL Network. The total monetary commitment for the 4 networks, not including the NFL Network, is $5 billion annually through 2021. Now, the reason it's so high, the average viewership for live games ranges from 8 million to 21.7 million people per game, and that just rises steadily throughout the season.
So this graph that we have here depicts the number of games that the NFL shows per week on the x-axis. Going from right to left, you can see on the far right we have the beginning of the season, and on the far left we have the last week or the Super Bowl. And those games, the quantity or the supply decreases because in the beginning we have 16 games a week basically, and at the end obviously there's only 1. And the y-axis shows the average number of viewers that we have per game in the NFL. And the demand curve shows how viewership increases as the season progresses. So as you can see, it's pretty steady at around 20 million viewers per game. And then it jumps up when the playoffs start because these games are obviously more important and a lot more people are interested to see who's going to make it to the Super Bowl. And then finally the Super Bowl, whether people are watching for just the commercials or if they're actually interested in the game, that viewership goes up to around 110 million, which has been the average for the past 5 seasons of the Super Bowl.
Now let's take a look at some football and television statistics. Here on the bottom right, you can see that 64% of U.S. adults watch the NFL. This is definitely the majority, but how do they view it? 60% watch NFL football on the television, 8% on their computer, 6% attend the games live in person, and 5% watch it on either their smartphone or tablet. It's important for the NFL to take note on the growing smartphone and tablet industry. We'll talk about how they're adapting to that soon. However, watching via television is still the most dominant method, and American television subscribers are paying $100 per year on average for sports programming. Now, while this programming includes all sports, such as baseball, hockey, and basketball, the NFL definitely dominates the industry. As you can see here, the NFL claims 17.4 million regular season viewers on average per game. The next closest sport is the NBA with 1.3 million, and then the MLB with 685,000. Therefore, the NFL has a lot of power with pricing for the television networks.
So as you can see in this picture that Brian Rolapp, who is the Executive Vice President of Media for the NFL, has hanging in his office, which is entitled Ruthless Priorities, the NFL clearly wants to be a juggernaut in the TV world. This picture shows a high school football game in progress while the actual school building is burning in the background. And in the picture, it really doesn't seem as though people are concerned with the burning of the school building. They're just trying to watch football. And the NFL kind of has this sense of importance about them in America because of their popularity today. And this sense of importance really showed through with their most recent Thursday Night Football deal. So their offer was for a network, whoever won the bid, to televise 8 Thursday Night Football games over the course of this season, and the network would pay almost $300 million. The winning network ended up paying that for the bid. The catch, though, with this deal is that whatever the network paid for the 8 games, they would also be paying for the other 8 games that they didn't get to televise, which are shown on NFL Network. And so they would be paying for a full season's worth of games and only getting to show half of them on their network. Nevertheless, the popularity that the NFL brings to TV networks kind of swayed all the networks to bid, and CBS ended up winning the bid, and they get to show 8 Thursday Night Football games on their network this season. And as we saw in an earlier graphic, the NFL has exponentially more viewers per game than the NBA and Major League Baseball. And the main reason that supply and demand has swung so highly in favor of the NFL is because of their shorter season. The NFL only has 16 games in the regular season, as opposed to 82 games in the NBA and NHL, and 162 games in Major League Baseball. And along with the shorter season, the game of football provides a more exciting fan experience on TV because of the sport as a whole. It has harder, more violent hits, it has faster players, and the short season also caters to fan experience because one game at any point in the season can affect a team a lot more than a regular season game in the NBA, MLB, or NHL in terms of wins and losses for the playoff contention. And Jonathan Kraft, who is the president of the New England Patriots, says that between the excitement of the game of football and what each week can mean for a team throughout the season all adds up to the premium value in our content when talking about the NFL as a whole.
So increasingly more users are cutting the cord, so to speak, with cable and switching to streaming services instead, such as Netflix and Hulu. This brings us to the first major issue facing the NFL's income with regards to media. Convenience and quickness of delivery are beginning to replace the traditional television experience for viewers. Fans want to have access to their shows at all times. Cable companies are combating this shift by offering packages. For example, DirecTV currently offers subscribers the opportunity to purchase NFL Sunday Ticket. This allows fans to watch every game on Sundays, even outside their home market. The NFL cannot rely on past methods of viewer retention either. Instead, they are maintaining their games on free broadcast TV like CBS or Fox and researching widely for new digital opportunities. Their most recent attempt at a digital breakthrough is offering the NFL Now streaming service. This includes NFL-made films, TV shows, and documentaries. In addition, they're creating player interview content and highlights. Brian Rolapp calls this development the Pandora of your NFL news and information, and the Netflix of NFL video. The NFL is not limiting themselves there, though. They are also looking for digital opportunities elsewhere. One example of this is their partnership with Verizon. The telecommunications company established a 4-year, $1 billion deal with the NFL to increase the number of games streamed to smartphones. The NFL also signed a 1-year deal with Twitter to tweet highlights from live games. Now keep in mind that no other traditional TV partner has this kind of a deal. It allows the NFL to keep in touch with their fans, even if they cannot be watching the game through real-time tweeting. It also allows fans to stay up to date with their favorite players, even when it's bad news.
So some of you may be wondering why the NFL can act as a monopoly. Well, in 1961, the Sports Broadcasting Act allowed for sports leagues to have legal permission to conduct television broadcast negotiations in a way that otherwise would have been price collusion. In 1966, the NFL gained further support with the AFL-NFL merger because there was a statute set forth that said if the two leagues merged, the new entity could act as a monopoly regarding television rights. Since the NFL has this power, it can get away with things that a lot of other businesses can't. For instance, the NFL has enforced blackout policies which require local TV stations to black out games that don't sell out. Because of its tax-exempt status, antitrust exemptions, and the use of taxpayer dollars to build new stadiums, fans are very upset when these blackouts occur. After hearing so many complaints, there were 2 U.S. senators that told the NFL they should stop their blackouts or Congress would have to act and reverse some of the exemptions that the NFL enjoys.
Understandably, the NFL believes that it is invincible because of the revenues that it pulls in and the money and jobs that it generates for the U.S. economy. But it has to understand that it has to meet the obligations to loyal fans and the American public because of the benefits that it receives. Recently, the Federal Communications Commission removed rules that helped support the NFL's blackout policy, and Senators McCain and Blumenthal wrote to Commissioner Roger Goodell that if the NFL did not voluntarily end its blackout policy, that Congress would move forward to make a change based on the needs and desires of the public and fan base. All of this sets the stage for bad news for the players in the NFL.
And most of the time, bad news comes in the form of injuries. As this graphic shows, the NFL has had a high injury rate over the past few years. As a league, the NFL has about 1,700 players that are on rosters every season, and the number of recorded injuries in 2012 was over 3,100, which is almost 2 injuries per player. That number is really high no matter how you look at it. With that being said, even rule changes about players not allowed to lead with their helmet when tackling and not being able to hit defenseless receivers who are in the air have not stopped injuries from occurring because of the physical nature of the game. Injuries can severely shorten players' careers, which means that by next season your favorite player could have retired because of injuries. And as the next picture shows, NFL careers are shorter on average than those of Major League Baseball players, NBA players, and NHL careers, as they make less money over time as a result. There is a saving grace, however, for the NFL's viewership. People will still watch even with their favorite players out with injuries. The fact that superstars get hurt and can't play is just part of the game, and it allows for other players to come in and try to prove themselves. In some cases, this unveils the superstar players that are next in line, and fans can always get excited about that. In the long run, though, it seems that the NFL could be in trouble because of injuries. Parents are becoming more aware of the increasing number of injuries, and because they want the best for their kids, are attempting to sway them toward other sports. Obviously, all sports and activities will have injuries because of the nature of sports itself, because of contact or non-contact injuries that can happen. But even superstar athletes like LeBron James, who played football before he went to the NBA, have said that their kids are not allowed to play football due to the injuries that can occur because of the violent nature of the game.
In conclusion, the NFL will have no problem maintaining their status as a media giant in the short run. They dominate both sports viewership and cable television as a whole. Through adapting to ever-changing technologies, the NFL has been able to keep its competitive advantage. The most pressing issue they need to address for the long-run success is preservation of their athletes' health. If they can address this concern and continue adapting to modern technologies, there really is no limit as to how far their potential can take them. Reporting for the Eller Sports Desk, I'm Katie Nickerson.
And I'm Aaron Dryden.
Bear down, Wildcats!
And good luck this weekend against Washington. What am I supposed to talk about? No, you stop this. I'm not ready. I told you I wasn't ready. Get this crap out of here. Stop. MacBook, stop.